Do you want to get more conversions and better results from your community? Well, if you do, you need to know this one approach that is going to help you take your community management from good to outstanding. I'm detailing what it is and how to practice it in today's episode. I often get asked what it means to be a great community manager, whether it's somebody who's trying to hire a community manager for the first time, or somebody like a client that I was speaking with today who has a community manager on her team. She's just not sure is really excelling at her role. I'll tell you this, it has taken me over a decade of community management to really understand those little nuances that take somebody from being a good community manager to a really outstanding community manager. And there's a few of them, but I'm going to talk about one today. And this one in particularly is going to help you get more conversions from your free community into your paid community. And it'll also help you help your members get better results. Community managers have a lot of roles, but the most obvious one is engaging within the community platform. And I think about this on a few different levels. A level one community manager is somebody who's really stuck in that cheerleader mindset. They're there to just sort of give it attaboy, attagirl, and celebrate people inside of the community. They're helping make sure people feel seen, which is really important, but that's kind of a level one mentality when we're talking about engaging in the community. A level two mentality takes it a step further, and they really see themselves as a guide to community members. They're pointing them to the right resources, pointing them to their best next action to help them make progress. And we talk about this a lot inside of my programs on this podcast, where we shift from engagement being the goal to progress being the goal. And when you do that, this is often that shift that happens from level one to level two, where we go from just being a cheerleader to being more of a guide and helping people get really clear on the best next action for them to take. So how do we up level that even more? How do we get to the level three community manager? Well, that is somebody who really sees their role as a coach inside of the community. Now, I'm not talking about being an actual coach, a life coach, school certified coach, or whatever coaching modality that you used, but this is really approaching community engagement with a bit of a detective mindset, with a lot more curiosity, and really trying to help people take action by overcoming those mindset blocks that often get in the way. My friend Corinne says it this way. She says, I want my team to be able to identify what's really the problem going on in the post or the question that's being asked. And what happens is we get to the why behind the action. And oftentimes it's understanding why they're not taking action on the steps they already have in front of them. Okay. So coaching is where the mindset comes into play. And we all know that mindset is 80% of the game, anyways. Almost every question that gets asked, I promise you, almost all of them, they have a hidden objection or a hidden limiting belief behind the question. And if that isn't addressed, it doesn't matter how you answer the question or how many questions you answer for this individual, progress is not going to happen. So this is especially important during a launch when you're trying to get people to make a purchasing decision. They may be asking lots of news, weather, sports kind of level questions. But if we're not thinking about what that question behind the question is, what the mindset piece is that's behind that question, then we're going to miss the real problem, the real objection that we need to overcome to get them inside of our program. So how do you go about adding a coaching layer to your community management? Well, it's actually quite simple. And no, you don't need to ask people about their feelings. You don't need to go get certified, although that can help. You don't need to work them through the life coach school model. You don't need to ask them about their thoughts. You just need to do three really simple things. And it doesn't need to happen on every single post, but I want you to be thinking through these as you're engaging with the community to start training yourself to have more of that coach's mindset inside of the community. So what do? Well, the first thing is don't rush the answer. Oftentimes, we talk about streamlining our community management and really making sure that we can create systems and processes that allow our community managers or ourselves, if we're the business owner, to spend less time in the community and help serve our community faster. So we have like pre-planned responses, we have resource guides that allow us to get answers and links really quickly. But what can happen is we start rushing through in a way that we would never do if we were actually looking face to face with somebody and helping them through their problems. So, first off, don't rush the answer, slow down and ask yourself, what's the real problem here? What's the question behind the question? What is behind this? Because oftentimes it's obvious, and all we have to do is slow down and identify it. Now, the second thing I want you to do is to consider looking for context. What else have they posted about in the community? If you use a community like a Facebook group, you can click on that person's profile and you can see the other questions and comments that they've engaged on inside of the community pretty quickly to give yourself some context. So, for example, like, has this person posted 10 tech questions in the last month? Right? Or so they're really overwhelmed by the tech. That's good context to know. Have they submitted a survey lately, or is there a testimonial from them lately? Just get some context around this individual and what do you know about them. And then the third thing that you're going to do is you're going to ask questions. And these questions can be really simple. They're things like, tell me more. Will answering this question help you get unstuck? Is there anything else that's holding you back from making progress right now? Why is this particular question or this particular challenge important to you right now? So, adding these questions into your response can help you take it a level deeper, and it actually gets that individual to slow down as well so that they're not rushing through and asking the question, trying to do the busy work and trying to like think through the checklist, but they're not actually getting to the root of the problem and why they're not making progress. So let's walk through just a couple of examples of how this could play out. So let's pretend like this is a post that was just posted inside of your community. I'm struggling to decide on a landing page platform. Is there a training somewhere on this? What does everyone recommend? Seems like a pretty easy question to answer. So you could easily just respond with the training inside of the program and be that guide who says, hey, that's really fantastic. Let me give you the access to this training. And oh, by the way, this is the recommended platform. But what if this person hasn't even chosen their audience yet, or even decided on their offer? What if this is the third tech question that they've asked in a week? Wouldn't knowing that information be really important in addressing this particular question? So, how do you know that? Well, you slow down, you look for some context, and you ask questions. So, let's go back to that post real quick. Here's the post, and here is how I would consider responding. I'm struggling to decide on a landing page platform. Is there training somewhere on this? What does everyone recommend? Now, a good response, like I said, would be getting them that resource and sharing your recommendation. But here's what an outstanding response would be based on the things that we've discussed here. Sounds like you're ready to create a landing page. That's great, Sally. Here's the link to the recommended tools page where you'll find the suggested landing page platforms. Is there anything else that's holding you back from launching your course or launching your list builder or whatever it might be? So we've asked that one question. This doesn't actually require you to have any additional context, but what it does is it gets them really thinking through what the true roadblocks are and making progress towards their goal. Another way that you could do this is the same kind of intro. Sounds like you're ready to do XYZ. That's really amazing, Sally. Here's the immediate answer that you're looking for, the link to this tool or to the resource. I noticed that the other day you posted that you're still struggling to identify your audience. Although I know it's really easy to try and check off the box of finding a landing page platform, what I really want to do is help you make sure you have your audience nailed first. Have you completed the XYZ worksheet to nail your audience? Have you done this and chosen your list builder or your headline? Like, point them to what is the best next step for them, right? So that's how you would be responding differently if you were thinking about the context that you have and if you were trying to slow down and really ask questions to get to the question behind the question. Here's another example of this. So somebody's inside of your free community and they're considering joining your program, and they ask this question: what's the deadline to join? I work full time and I haven't had a chance to look at the offer yet. Have you ever heard that before? Of course, you've heard that inside of your community. A lot of people saying, I'm too busy. What's the offer? What's the deadline to join? It'd be really easy to just get them the deadline, right? A good community manager is going to do just that. They're going to answer the question, which is the basic, you need to join by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. PT. Here's the sales page link, right? A great community manager is going to answer the question, but it's also going to encourage them to join now so that they don't miss the deadline, right? They're going to have a little bit of a sales conversation in there that's like, hey, yeah, the deadline is Thursday at 11:59 Pacific time. Here's the link for you to join. I would encourage you to hop in right away so that you don't forget, because we're not going to be opening the doors again for another 3 months or another year or whatever that might be. But what would an outstanding community manager do? Well, an outstanding community manager is going to recognize that the most important line in that post wasn't the question. It wasn't, what's the deadline to join? But it was the statement that they said after the question. Do you remember what that was? I work full time. I haven't had the chance to look at the offer. So yeah, they're going to answer the question and they're going to tell them what the deadline is, but they're going to hear the question behind the question. Is this possible for me? I'm already so busy. I don't even have time to look at the offer. How would I have time to take advantage of your program? Are there other people like me that work full time and that have a lot on their plate that have seen success with this? And they're going to anticipate that, right? So they're going to anticipate that thought, that limiting belief that is woven into this question around what's the deadline, but they gave you additional context right there. I work full time. I haven't had a chance to look at the offer. So they're going to talk about other people in the program that have had success with a full-time job inside of the program. Maybe they're going to ask a question about what their hope would be this program would help them accomplish as it relates to that job, right? Maybe you help people start a side hustle, right? So you ask a question about how the side hustle is going to help them get out of their full-time job. Do you see the difference? The first one just simply answers the question. The second one, that great community manager, is not just answering the question, but they're kind of giving them some motivation around the deadline, encouraging them to join right away. But the third community manager is really slowing down, looking for the question behind the question, looking for the context, and addressing the unspoken question around the full-time work that has kept this person from even being able to look at the offer. Now, this obviously doesn't apply to every single post inside of your community, but I do want you to keep this in mind. Because if you don't, you're going to miss out on a lot of conversion opportunities, whether that's converting people into your program or converting them to take action and make progress inside of your program, right? So it doesn't apply to every post, but when you have this mindset and you're looking for the question behind the question and you're trying to elevate yourself to include the context and to help motivate people through to action, no matter what that action may be, then you need to be interpreting all of the other context. You need to be asking questions to help understand really what's behind the question and what's happening. So the next time that you're engaging in your community, I want you to just slow down a little bit. I want you to read questions and post a couple of times. I want you to ask yourself the question of what's really the problem here? What really are they trying to solve? Is there a question behind this question? I want you to seek to uncover a little bit of context so that you can best serve the individual asking that question. And then I want you to go a little bit deeper with them, to ask questions that help give you insight into how you can better serve them, help them overcome those hidden limiting beliefs and objections that are often lurking behind those common questions inside of your community. I guarantee that when you do that and you take this approach inside of your community, that you're going to see more conversions and more people taking action.